These men are trying to meet up with teenagers online.
I mean, it's pretty much,
I will not do it again.
Okay.
If you catch me again doing it, then I say submit it. Okay.
They think they're talking to actual teenagers, but in reality, they're talking to an adult decoy posing as one on the other end.
I mean, you sent a full-blown picture and video of your to a 13-year-old girl. Okay, that's a federal offense right there.
Not only is it immoral and just downright disgusting, but it's illegal. And these guys know that very well.
You won't believe some of their excuses.
Why does a 13-year-old girl need to meet a 40-year-old man?
Because
For
I
what?
wanted to see if that's what her intentions were.
They come in all different shapes and sizes.
I'm Skeet Hansen with the Predatorial Investigation Unit. I'm Skeet Hansen with the Predatorial Investigation Unit. No, I'm Skeet Hansen with the Predatorial Investigation Unit.
I'm Skeet Hansen with the Predatorial Investigation Unit, and these are the dangers of your kids using the internet unsupervised. I hope you brought your appetite because we've got a lot of predator pasta to dish out here.
Trouble is lurking in the streets of Highland, Indiana, home to over 20,000 residents. Some of those residents being teenagers who are actively using social media without parental supervision. But how many of those teens would fall victim to solicitation from alleged online predators? Well, we conducted an investigation to find out just that, only to come across this Kelvin character. He's the latest suspect in our investigations. He's 40 years old and for the past 2 weeks has been chatting online with our adult decoy posing as a 13-year-old girl. He claims to be a researcher of some sort and was running an experiment, asking these sexually charged questions to get a response for his quote-unquote data collection. But if you ask me, everything that comes out of his mouth is made of purebred back-of-the-barn bullshit.
What about a 13-year-old girl being pregnant is attractive to you? Help me understand
It's
it.
really not.
Well, so why would you say that, though?
Just to get a response. I like
Just a
doing research on what people respond to.
Calvin arranged to meet up with this 13-year-old girl at a Meijer, but little does he know that he'll actually be meeting me and my comrade Eric for an educational interview on internet safety. He's ultimately confronted and then taken in for further questioning when the police arrive on scene. Safe to say the experiment that Calvin was conducting went all the way south. The things he said in this chat log will shock you. He starts off the conversation with the girl on a dating app. At some point, he asks how old the girl is. She says that she's 13. Calvin says, "Cool, I'm looking for a girlfriend/baby mama." The girl asks how old he is. He says, "I'm 40, old enough to be your dad." He asks for pictures of the girl. He says, "Wow, you're beautiful. You look older than 13. He then says, "You should load a period tracker on your phone to see when your ovulation day is." The girl doesn't know quite what that is. The girl mentions that she's going into high school this year. He then says pregnant girls at the start of high school are the hottest. He then talks about how he can get in trouble for talking to this girl and meeting up with her. But even that doesn't stop him from doing it. The rest of his chat log is so sexually graphic and descriptive that we can't show it on YouTube, but just know that it's very X-rated.
Now, this Kelvin character is one of the more interesting guys that I've gotten the pleasure of interviewing. He's about 40 years old. He'd been talking to this 13-year-old girl online for a couple weeks, very sexually, okay? He seemed to have this sort of pregnancy kink, I guess you would say. He talked about how he thinks that high school girls being pregnant are attractive. He claimed that he was some sort of amateur psychologist and he was trying to gather research data, and he was doing this sort of experiment on this 13-year-old girl. Now, in this experiment he was running, he would ask this girl very sexually charged questions, and he was just fishing for a certain response. And according to him, I guess he was keeping track of this data somewhere. It's a rather overcast day. We're out in Highland, Indiana, at the Meijer, where we told Calvin to meet up at. We're in the parking lot waiting to get the confirmation that he is in fact in the store in the shoes section and is ready to meet this 13-year-old girl that he'd been talking to for some time now. A few cars had passed by. We thought a few of them were his, especially when this sort of creepy-looking minivan had drove by. We thought that was Calvin in that van, but turned out it wasn't. He was actually in a black pickup truck of some sort, I believe. So we get the confirmation that Calvin is in fact in the Meijer. So we go ahead and march on in there to the shoe section. And of course, there he is, walking around, waiting for this 13-year-old girl to show up. And when I first saw Calvin, of course, I used one of my rather famous lines. I asked him if he was there looking for the sex offender 11s in the shoe section.
How you doing, sir? Would you be looking for the sex offender 11s, or? No. No? What can I help you find? Oh, well, sir, I am with the Predatorial Investigation Unit here, as you can see. And you would be Calvin, right?
No, I'm Nathan.
Nathan? So would this be your picture right here?
Yes.
It sure looks like you. Now, do you want to have a conversation about what you're here doing? Because
I was gonna meet a girl and talk to her, and that was
Now,
it.
we report all of our findings to the police, sir, so you should just be honest here. You were going to do what now?
I was gonna talk to her, hang out with her, and that was that.
And how old is the girl you're here to meet?
She originally said she was 18, then she said she was 13.
Well, I don't have
I was
any.
gonna talk to her and then try to
Okay.
convince her that it's not a good idea to do this.
That's what you were going to do. Well, here
ma'am.
she says she's. Did you call me ma'am?
I mean, sir.
Okay, you want to get that right before we go any further, Calvin.
Now, it's one thing to be a 40-year-old man and be meeting up with a 13-year-old girl, but to address me as a ma'am instead of sir, I mean, that's just where I draw the line, you know. I mean, I didn't spend 6 months growing this beard for nothing, you know. Calvin clearly was not thinking clearly in this instance.
Now, she does say that she's 13,
Yep.
and you say it's okay, okay? And then
Okay to talk.
it's okay to talk, but is it okay
I'm
to?
not- I
Apparently,
don't
it's
want
okay to meet too. You don't want anything, is what you say. Well, here you say that pregnant girls at the start of the first year of high school are the hottest.
I thought
So-
I was saying it as a joke.
What's
I
so?
meant nothing
It
by
was a joke.
I meant nothing by it. I mean nothing by it.
So what about a 13-year-old girl being pregnant is attractive to you? Help me understand
It's
it.
really not. I want to explain to girls and people that look, if you go off and do this, it's not great. Yes, some guys feel it's attractive. I do
But
not.
you're one of those guys.
I do not feel it's attractive.
Well, you said
Yes,
it here,
I did say
Calvin.
that. Yes, I did.
So,
I did say that.
So why would you say that though?
Just to get a response. I like
Just a
doing research on what people respond to.
So you're more like a psychologist. In a
Kind
way.
of. I
Okay.
just don't have the degree. I
just
want
don't
to know
have
what
that.
people respond to.
So
And
you-
I want to just talk to
Well,
hey,
So you have
We
a
see
bunch
what
of
you respond
data
to.
and yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of data other than up here. I
Okay.
talk to a lot of people
So you
all day
don't
long.
take notes while you're doing
I
this?
just take mental notes and
Just mental. That's what
right.
it is.
I
Okay.
don't want nothing. I just want to explain to people that this can happen. It's easy.
Okay.
I don't want nothing. From
Well, we see that. We see how easy it is,
Right.
for adults to come and meet
Right.
up.
That's
we're
what I'm
trying
saying.
to teach you that it's not okay.
I don't want nothing from it.
Nothing.
I don't
Well,
mean nothing.
Why
to
did you
this.
say that you could date her mom and then make out with her when she's gone, a 13-year-old
I
girl?
wanted to see what her responses would be. That's what I'm.
And
after.
what kind of response were you looking for there?
I was
Calvin?
looking for, hey, that's not really what I want. That's not right. You know.
Well, here you said that would be
Change that.
awesome. Here you said that would be awesome.
Right, I did. I did say it would be awesome. In terms of looking at the picture of the parent, I don't want it to be awesome, but if I could make out with you as a teen boy, I would feel
A girl in
great.
this case.
Right.
So you're talking to a
Or
13-year-old
teen
girl.
I'm not looking for the situation.
You say if your mom looks like you, then you know I'm in love.
Right.
And then you say that you really want to know. You want her to know what a feels like inside of her making a baby, is what you say.
And I wanted to see what response she gives back.
So this whole thing was just so you could see responses.
Yes, that's
And you had no intention of actually following up on it.
So
No,
It's very inappropriate, Calvin.
Do you do these experiments a lot?
How often do you? Because we do these experiments a lot.
no,
experiments
just
a lot.
once in a blue moon. I
Some
just
blue moon.
So what
When it
part
comes
of the
up.
phone conversation was an experiment then?
Because we do have a whole recorded phone call with you and this 13-year-old girl.
right. I was just to talk.
Just to talk.
To see what kind of responses she would give back.
Just to talk about how you don't agree with the
Right.
government saying that 13 isn't
Right.
old enough, but you think it's old enough.
Right.
Because I recall that.
To me,
Now, Calvin claimed that he was this sort of researcher, and he was asking these sexually charged questions to this 13-year-old girl in the name of science, basically, in the name of research, to get certain responses. And he wasn't going to follow through and do anything, is what he said. You know, from the get-go, from the moment he started talking, all that was running through my mind was, Calvin, this experiment you're running is illegal as f***. You know? Jeez. There was a phone call that occurred with Calvin and who he thought to be a 13-year-old girl. In that phone call, he did express how the government says that the age 13 isn't legal because a girl that young can't consent to sexual acts, which is very, very true. But on the phone call, Calvin explained how he very much disagreed with that, and that 13 was in fact old enough. So just in his mind, he really thinks that a girl 13 years old should be able to consent sexually. It's really mind-boggling the way some of these guys think. You know, I mean, where are they getting this logic?
I agree with the government as it's not illegal at all. It is not right.
That's not what you said on the phone the other day, Calvin.
I understand. Let me explain.
Please.
I understand. That's what I said.
Please.
I'm chasing what she would say, what other people would say. I'm going to tell you a line, okay? I want to know what your response is. And then I'm going to seed you with a different response to see if I can come back with the same answers.
Okay, what kind of trick are you playing here, Calvin?
There is no trick.
Okay.
I'm just...
Well, let me get through this first. Here you say that you would love to be looking deep in her eyes when you blank and just stare into those eyes deep because they're so beautiful. And you want to know what her panties look like. So it looks to me like you were talking about having sex with this girl, full-on intercourse. And it looks like you have this pregnancy kink and you want to get her pregnant from what it looks like.
Right.
Well, first help me understand what's so attractive about, a 13-year-old girl being pregnant. I mean,
There is nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
Why say it in the conversation?
My conversation upon that is to see what her response is.
Just to get a response.
Do I
Okay.
feel like I'm going to be sexy? Do I feel like I'm going to be cute?
I feel like you're going to be predatorial.
I have no
That's what it looks
intention.
like.
I have no intentions.
What's
Like I said,
What's your name?
Calvin.
Calvin. Why would you do this experiment?
Because I have a few younger family members, and I want them to understand. And I'm trying to.
Would you say that this experiment is going a bit wrong, Calvin?
Yes.
A bit south now?
Yes.
Okay.
And like I said,
What was the end goal of the experiment
I
with
was
a
just about to
13-year-old
ask
girl
the
actually
end goal
was here?
is just to convince her that this, how bad people can convince you to do something, and do what you got to do and walk away.
So why did you have to meet her in person to do that? You couldn't have told her that on the phone?
Because I wanted to see if she would meet me.
Why?
That's why.
Why
Because-
though, Calvin?
Okay.
Why does a 13-year-old girl need to meet a 40-year-old man?
Because
For
I
what?
wanted to see if that's what her intentions were.
What?
You could just ask her.
What was her
Hey,
intentions?
To me,
Are
her
these your
inten-
intentions?
To me, her intentions were to meet up, hang out, talk, and explain to me that
No, wait.
her dad passed away supposedly.
Okay.
And help her convince him
You said you wanted to see if it was her intention.
if she would actually meet somebody, and apparently she did not. So
Well, apparently she was going to, and apparently
Right.
you would too, because you're here to meet
right,
her.
and I wanted to
Okay.
understand.
Why would she
Right.
do that though?
Well, that's what I wanted to know.
More importantly, why would you do that? Why would
Because
you
I-
talk like this and then try
because
to
I
meet up with
wanted to
her?
know.
And then she sent a picture of both her and her young friend, and you say, I won't lie, you and your 13-year-old friend would both look good pregnant.
And I wanted to see what my response would have been. Like I said, all I'm after is responses.
You're just
What-
after responses.
That's it.
Well, I
am
got to
not-
tell you, Calvin, every action has an equal.
I'm not after
every
nothing.
action has an
I
equal reaction.
something.
Okay.
I don't
You're up
want-
to something for
Well,
sure.
you're here.
Well, let's go back to that trick you were going to. The psychology trick you mentioned before.
Okay.
Where were we going with that?
It was just to talk.
Oh,
It was
so the whole thing was just to talk.
I wanted this, like I said, I know this happens a lot.
What
and
happens?
people meet girls, come out, hang out,
People meet girls?
do things, and there's not
Sexual
not good
things.
Well,
sexual things.
specifically adults
sexual
meet
things.
minors,
Right.
Is that what you mean?
And yes, and I don't want that. I have younger siblings. I have
Your younger son. How old are your siblings?
well, both my stepsisters are older, so they'd actually be my nieces and nephews.
Okay. How old
Okay.
are they?
14 and 17, 22, and then they each, a couple of them have kids. But I want them to understand.
And
that
how
this-
often are you around these minors, Calvin?
Not very often.
Not very often.
No.
Well, I would hope so.
I live
It
by
should-
myself.
It really should be never.
I live by myself.
And do you talk to them like this? Well, why not? What makes it okay for you to talk to
usually
a
sit with my
13-year-old girl like
parents.
this?
Usually sit with my sisters and them, and we talk.
Okay.
And this is bad, and I try to show them that you can't do this stuff. And we've watched it.
We see you're doing it.
I didn't.
He's right,
Okay,
Calvin.
I didn't know.
You didn't know it was a hold
I
on,
didn't really
hold
know
on.
that part was a
Let's back up here, Calvin.
research it.
Now you didn't know. You're telling me you didn't know that it was illegal to go online and talk up a 13-year-old girl like this with these messages, and proceed to meet up with her for sex, presumably. You didn't know that was illegal.
Yes, I know it is illegal. Yes, to that part. But what is wrong with trying to help convince somebody that this is a wrong
So
idea?
why didn't
Don't come out and meet.
Calvin, why didn't you do that through the text?
You could have told her don't come out and meet, but instead you're here to meet her.
Because sometimes I feel texts get interpreted in the wrong way, in the wrong forms.
I think we got the message across clearly what you were here to do.
Now, at this point, this experiment that Calvin was conducting is just completely backfiring. I mean, blowing up in his face, And according to Calvin, him actually physically meeting up with this girl in public was also a part of the experiment. He wanted to see if she would meet, for one, and then kind of see where her mind was from what he was saying. Now, being that Calvin has nieces and nephews who he says are 14 years old, right around the age of the girl he was there to meet, you gotta wonder, is anything funny going on there? What's stopping him from having these sexually charged experiments with his nieces and nephews? I'm not accusing anyone of anything here, but it is a concern. It really is a concern.
I think we got the message across clearly what you were here to do.
Can you go to that one with the tracker message that he said?
Yes, so the ovulate,
Yeah, right.
right, the ovulation. I did forget to touch base on that one. Trying to see which one that was, Calvin. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here you say that you should load a period tracker on your phone and see when your ovulation day is.
Right.
So why did you want her to do that? Was that part of the pregnancy thing?
That was just part of. Do you look at that pregnancy thing that I was explaining? I know a lot of
What
females.
business does a 13-year-old girl have to look at a pregnancy thing like that?
There is none.
She
And I
doesn't
wanted
need to
see
be.
what her answers would have been.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
Sir, you just randomly
Calvin,
have
this-
that pop in your head, like what's it called, a period tracker?
A period
just
tracker,
to see
right.
what she would say?
yeah. I was just we're talking and
Does an experiment.
Experiment. I just want to know what her answer was gonna say. That's it. Like I said,
Calvin, come on. It's just not adding up,
man.
Calvin.
You expect me to believe that?
You really expect us to believe that, Calvin?
No.
Do you think the
But-
police would believe it?
No.
He asked this girl if she keeps track of her period, okay? And then says that she should get an ovulation device of some sort to keep track of her periods, You just gotta wonder why in the world would Kelvin need to know when this girl is going to be on and off of her menstruation cycle? The only thing that I could think of is maybe he wanted to know sort of the time periods of when he would actually be able to get her pregnant. Because I think that he was 100% willing to go through with these things he was talking about in the chat log. I really do. We all know that it wasn't an experiment. I mean, come on, that's just ridiculous.
What do you think would happen? I mean, what do you think should happen to you, first of all?
Honestly,
do you think the police would buy your story here that you're here to meet?
And
So-
honestly, I'll tell you right now, I walk, I talk to nobody, and I move to a different state and start my life over because I've been through some bad times and I just want to help people.
You want to help people by
I don't-
impregnating them, essentially.
wanna
a
do it-
13-year-old girl.
Not that way. I
Not
wanna
that
help
way.
people.
So a different way.
I want to help people as in mentally and convincing them that
Mentally.
there's better things in life.
Isn't this kind of screwing up on Myers' head? Because like half the stuff in there, like a lot of 13-year-olds won't even know.
It's a pretty dirty chat log.
Actually,
Like you're turning her on to these things. A period tracker.
She didn't know what that was, as far as I can recall at first.
So
Right.
you're bringing these things into this 13-year-old
So-
girl's mind, bro.
I get that.
You get that.
I understand I'm bringing it in there. I'm not chasing
Did you know that before you did it?
Not really. I didn't pay any that much attention. I didn't think about it that well.
So you're not doing a very good
Clearly.
job with your experiments.
No, I'm still figuring and learning
Still,
and reading.
okay. So you're more of a novice psychologist, you would say.
Okay, explain novice.
A bit on the lower level
Yes.
of
I
psychology.
just want to learn.
Okay.
I want to know what
Okay.
makes people do what they do.
That's why we do
What
we
makes,
do.
we're just trying to find out what makes you
Okay,
do what
what
you're
make-
here to do.
To be honest with you, I would love to do what you guys do, 110 million%, because
we
there's
do.
a lot of it that happens in the world, and I've tried helping people before, but
Mm-hmm.
more with alcohol and drugs, and I've done pretty well with it. I wanted
Okay.
to step to a different realm of helping people,
Right, you want
where
to help
there's
people.
where there's more, because I know there's a lot of it out there. I know there's a lot of sex trafficking. There's a lot
Sure.
of drug activity with it.
There's a lot
I
of
want to
predators
help that.
as
And a lot
well.
of there's tons of predators
Tons.
and everything. And I don't want that to come about. I want to help, but who do you contact to help without sounding weird? That
Oh,
hey,
I don't know.
I want to help somebody
Right,
so they don't
yeah.
do this stuff.
I gotcha.
So I'm.
You may want to get in contact with the police. In fact, we can probably help you with it.
I
do you
mean-
want us to call them up here for you?
No, I
can
mean,
probably- why not?
Well, I just wanted help. I just want to help fix the problems that happen.
Well, you say you want to try to do sort of what we do. We get in contact with the police. Do you want to you want to get in contact with them?
Not this evening.
Why not? What else are you doing?
I mean, 'cause
apparently you had the night free. You were here to meet her, and
I'm actually
then
heading to the Derby. I was going to talk to
Oh.
her for 15, 20 minutes.
so you weren't going to go to her house where her mom's not there and
Nope,
do any.
I'm not 100% stupid.
blank inside of her and all that.
So
okay.
what were you going to do?
What were you going to do
Just-
if she was here?
If she was here right now,
Now, he said that he would like to do what we're doing, meaning catching and confronting online predators, I assume, is what he was talking about. Now, that's something I've never heard from any of these guys that I have interviewed. I mean, this is, this is groundbreaking stuff right here. I mean, when that came out of his mouth, I couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Now, Calvin claimed that he, of course, wasn't going to do anything with this 13-year-old girl. So we thought we'd ask him what his plan really was, what he was going to do. He says he was going to talk to her for 10, 15 minutes, tell her that this isn't right, and then he was going to be on his way. But I was very curious on what exactly he was going to say to this girl for 10, 15 minutes. And we know that everything that was coming out of his mouth was a bunch of garbage, but this theatrical monologue that he gave was borderline impressive. I've got to hand it to him. I mean, Calvin is a real class act.
here right now, so we just be stand here, talk like we are.
Let's act it out. Okay, so let's say this
Okay,
has a 13-year-old girl.
I'd be
So-
hi, I'm Calvin. What brings you to the store, as in here? And then it would be more of, it's not right to meet a 40-year-old male.
Tell it to the girl.
store. It's not right to be meet here. You should really think about more of who you're talking to upon the day. I think you need to really go home, sit down and talk to your mother about a lot of things, and have a better day. and look more into and not get on sites where you can date other men and lie about saying, oh, I'm 18 and you're not, because that misleads. And misleading, not telling the truth and communication physically hurts a lot of people. It can hurt you more than anything, and it's not good. Because I don't think your mother would want to miss you if something were to happen to you upon bad situations. It's not right. So I would enjoy it if you went home safely without me, without nobody, walk back to your house, and then call your mother and let her know how you're doing and you're safe. This is not how you meet people. This is not what things are, and there's no intentions meant by anything I said. I was looking for responses. You responded to them in a way that really needs help. You need to search a little bit of help out of that, and if you would like to get that kind of help, I will be more than happy to meet your mother, meet your parents, family, and take you and have you get the help you need. So this doesn't happen again to the people on the town or in and around the area. So would you please take your butt home safely, and I'm going to go home and go out for the night. So you walk home, I'm going home, you have a great night, I have a great night, and let's not talk again unless your mother is available to speak to me.
Calvin, your breath stinks, so I wouldn't have done anything with you anyway. That's my 13-year-old girl impression. That's what she probably would have said.
That was beautiful.
So,
That's what you would have said to her?
it's a
Not a lie.
very accepting speech,
100%
Calvin.
Not a lie.
Okay.
Like I said,
Well, that was pretty convincing speech. Calvin, did you prepare that before you came?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Being that you do experiments, we also do a little bit of experiments ourselves. I just want to let you know, I'm Skeet Hansen with the Predatorial Investigation Unit. We're doing an online series about adults who try to meet up and talk sexual to minors online. And
Okay.
just want to let you know, you've just been skeeted. And if there's anything else you have to say, we'd love to hear it. If not, you're obviously free to go, and we're going to be submitting this to the police.
That's all I need.
That's all you got to say.
That's, like I said, I just wanted to learn and
Just learn.
experiment,
Okay.
just to
Well,
see what people would say.
I think we've learned a lot today.
Like I said, I wanted to just a response. Like I said, nothing is rehearsed. Nothing. It all just comes from here.
Off the dome, straight up. Okay.
There's nothing.
Okay.
I mean, obviously,
I got you, Calvin.
It was freestyle off the dome because it was bull.
no.
Kind of sounded like it to me.
Man, just not.
I smell a lot of BS coming from this conversation. But Calvin, if that's a story that you're sticking to, then hey, gotta hold you
We're
to
not
it.
gonna say any of that to her.
To be, give me a Bible. Go give me a Bible.
Sir.
I mean, I think the book section
you know
is
what I
over there somewhere. So,
Sir, if I was in your position, I would swear on the Bible too. I mean,
Like I said,
if I was the type of person you are, I would do it too. You probably don't believe in the Bible. You probably
Actually, I do. I go to church.
don't. That's very sad. That's very sad, Calvin.
you go to
like I said,
That's
church.
very sad.
Does your pastor know about this?
No.
Or your priest? Oh, he's probably in on it.
Like I
was
said,
thinking
I
about
just it's research. I just kind
Just research.
Just recent.
Okay.
So,
Well,
what
okay,
did you-
Calvin.
When did you start doing this research?
just here recently. Like I said, other than that, it's always been
This girl right here.
just it's the only
first
one.
one?
Yeah, this is the first one I
Just said,
wanted.
hey, it's the first 13-year-old girl I came across. Let me do an experiment on her.
Right. Other than that, like I said, I've always talked to people with drugs, alcohol addiction,
Gotcha.
things like that, and I've done good with helping them. Hey man, I'm feeling the edge. I'm feeling the edge. Dude, man, calm down, man. Let me come
Right.
get you. Let's talk. Sit down, talk this all out.
Understandable. Yeah.
You don't need drugs to make it through life. You don't need alcohol to make it through life.
You don't need sex with 13-year-old girls to make
You
it through
don't.
life either.
And
So.
you don't. And like I said, I was just looking to see what responses were.
Okay. Well,
Can I read you a Bible verse?
Yes, sir. I would love to hear it.
sure.
I would love
Read a
to
Bible
hear
verse, and maybe you can swear on it.
Yeah, Matthew 18:6.
it. Okay.
But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great milestone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the
That's
sea.
his seed. I believe it.
So what are you doing?
Like I said, I just want research. I don't.
Calvin, but you talked sexual to her.
I wanted research.
Very, very sexual.
It doesn't. Does it really matter the reason why you talked sexual to her?
No.
You did it.
The point is you did it. So,
Here's a 13-year-old girl texting a grown man. How old are you? 40?
40 years
texting
old.
a 40-year-old man He's saying.
Now, what if you had a 13-year-old daughter?
Believe it or not.
Do you have
it-
kids?
No.
So what if you had a 13-year-old daughter and
If
a
I had-
40-year-old man was coming to meet up with her after a conversation like this?
If
How would that make you feel, Calvin?
kind of pissed,
Kinda pissed.
upset up,
Okay.
but I would want her to come to me and be like, look, he talked me out of doing something. I swear on the Holy
Right.
Bible, we did nothing. He really did talk.
Gotcha. So it would be okay at the end of the day.
It would not be okay. There would
Right.
be more of a restriction of when you go out, who you go out with, and how.
I'll give her a
long
bit of a
you're
curfew after
Yes.
trying to meet up with a
out.
40-year-old man.
Hey, your mom is supposed to be at work. What are you doing out? That was another thing.
Okay.
Why are you out?
Well, Kevin, I
You know.
hope you never have kids. All right.
So I don't plan on it.
Okay.
Actually, a couple weeks from now, I'm supposed to go get fixed. So.
Well, that's good. We're hoping we can fix you in other ways too. And again, Kevin, if that's all you have to say, you know, you just been skeeted and all that. So if you're ready, you know, you're free to walk away, and we'll just get your license plate, and we'll submit everything to the police, and we'll be on our
Whatever
way.
you want to do.
So that's what we're gonna have to do, Kevin. That's what we. I'm sorry,
said-
Calvin. No, Kevin's the other predator. Sorry, Calvin. That's what we're gonna have to do.
Yeah, because we
Sorry.
don't believe your bullshit story.
Not one bit.
Calvin, this is
Oh, look, she's wearing your brand. Calvin.
Okay.
Well, I love your shirt, man. This is actually Calvin Klein right here. So.
Now, this was rather humorous, but at some point, a rather elderly woman walks by us, talking to Calvin, with a Calvin Klein shirt on. I mean, what a coincidence. I mean, what are the odds that we would be at this particular Meijer, at this time, at this location in the Meijer, and that this alleged predator's name would be Calvin, and then that this woman would happen to be walking through where we're at, wearing a Calvin Klein shirt. I mean, a shirt that has Calvin's, you know, first name on it. It's rather, it really is rather humorous. If I'm being honest, I feel like God was watching this all occur from above, and he was just like, you know what would be funny right now? Boom. And the woman just kind of spawns out of nowhere, and that was sort of her role. I really think like something like that could have happened. I mean, whether this was an act of God or not, at this point, I certainly believe in a higher power of some sort.
I want to help, but
You want to help? Okay.
You want to help?
We can put you in contact with the police right now if you want.
okay, do what we have to do.
You need help.
I
Yeah.
don't.
No, you can't help us. You need to help yourself, sir. You're talking sexual to a minor, and now here you are trying to meet the minor. And you want to say that you're trying to help us. You want to help us. You're going to teach her a lesson. You're going to be your savior.
But I'm
Calvin,
not.
Calvin.
Yes,
you know
sir.
how many guys we have caught
Many.
together?
A lot.
Hundreds.
Very many.
I said your story is not going to. I have respect for you if you just told me the truth.
I am
And
telling-
No. If you would just said, look, I talked sexual to this minor. I'm here to meet her. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done this. I would have some respect for you. But now you're just giving us this lie like you're stupid. You actually want us
You're
to
not
believe.
stupid. But I'm not lying.
We would have to be stupid to
Well,
believe that.
it was just an experiment from what he
Like
said.
I said, I'm just I wanted to
Experimenting.
know.
Okay.
I'm experimenting. I just wanted to know
Well, Calvin,
what the
okay.
responses would be.
I gotcha.
Okay, but why didn't you
If
stop?
If that's your story, well, that's a story and he wants to stick to it. That's fine.
So
we need to tell them about
should
this
we-
experiment you
I
were
wanna-
running.
Yeah, I want to know. Do you think we should contact
Honestly,
police or not?
Sure. Yeah,
Sure.
I'm not,
Well, there we
Okay.
go.
There we go.
You know,
we'll
like
do
I
it
said,
then.
I don't want no trouble. Like I said,
Well, this chat log here is trouble, Calvin. Let me
Right.
tell you.
Right.
And
Like I
you
said,
knew
I was
that.
just experimenting. I
And
wanted
you even
to-
said that at some point that you didn't want to get in trouble.
Right. I just wanted an experiment. I just
Just an
wanted to see
experiment.
what kind of responses.
It's a pretty
I would-
risky experiment.
Yeah. Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it don't.
Well, I don't think it paid off this time for you, Calvin.
So, like I said, what police department do you want me to head to?
So what your mom said?
She's
that who-
upset with me.
Is that who you called, Calvin?
Told her what?
You told her what was going
I told
on?
her I got caught up in one of the scams.
Scams.
Well, not really a scam, but into the predator world of that.
Sort of a sting operation.
Right.
Right.
And I said, I was just more or less looking for answers and research. I didn't want nothing from it. She's like, oh dear, I still love you. So
Okay.
So what were you going to do with all this research?
I wanted to compile it into like a book.
So
To a
your
book.
experiments were to talk to minors?
And then as I got enough of it, I wanted to
So
reach out and see what I could do to speak at schools of how this is not
Speak
right.
at schools?
Speak in front of people that
In front of people. Okay.
not directly schools, but in
Okay.
front of people
Gotcha.
that look, this can happen so easy,
Well, you see how
It's
easy it
unreal.
happens. Yeah.
you know, and to be honest, I kind of wanted to get caught because I wanted to see how well the system played.
You wanted to get caught
I wanted
doing this.
Yes, because I wanted to know.
He says that he wanted to get caught in a sting operation to further conduct his curiosities in research, apparently. I mean, that's a very, very amusing way of thinking. I didn't think I would ever hear anything like that throughout my days in this business. I mean, Calvin had said some, mind-boggling things before, but this just shocked me. I really couldn't believe what I was hearing.
know
So-
how much.
So you're
reach out.
hoping you want this to happen. You're hoping that when the cops show up, they put you in handcuffs and they put you in jail. They're throwing you in jail.
But I don't want to go to jail. But I wanted to.
Calvin, that just doesn't. Help me understand your thinking. You wanted to walk into one of these sort of sting setups,
Right.
and you wanted to be.
I wanted to see what questions come back to me from
Okay.
you guys.
Oh, for your research and experiments.
Us or the minor?
From you guys also.
And the minor, okay.
And the
Wait,
minor.
so
And the minor.
So you were hoping to actually not meet a little girl and actually meet an adult who would
Yes.
confront you about what you're doing.
Yes.
This is what you were hoping.
Yes.
So you purposely walk into a setup.
Pretty much, yes. I did question the tattoo. Why? You got a tattoo at 13. Why?
I actually know a 13-year-old that had a tattoo.
Well, see, I never
It's possible.
Did. I never did. I never have.
It's possible.
I mean, I know it's 100% possible. I
Yeah.
just was curious.
Okay.
What plays out. So,
I got you, Calvin. Well, we'll just sit tight.
So after you were done with this minor, you want to go on to the next one, and
Nope.
the next one?
Nope. I was gonna sit.
You're gonna stop here,
I was gonna stop here.
okay,
And
and
just
say that conducts my experiment.
Sit back. That
and-
conducts it.
Okay.
It was done.
Gotcha.
This ain't gonna come back again because.
Okay.
But you said once you have enough of once you've compiled enough
Because-
research, you're not gonna get enough research by one person.
But it's enough for my theory of life. For one is
He's
good.
running a smaller scale experiment, right,
I
Calvin?
need one just enough. All right, hey, this can happen. Great. All
So
right,
Calvin is just
no.
someone who has to find out for himself. What they say, curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So
Correct.
I got you, Calvin. Okay.
Yeah, Tom. I'm up here at Meyer, Hamby, or Highland.
Do you want to tell Tom what you're doing here?
I got caught up in talking to a minor and everything. So the police are here now. I want to talk to them.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm gonna let you go.
Hi. So I was the one that called.
I don't know what they'll let me do, if they'll let me leave
We
when you drop
run sort of an online sting operation where we catch online predators, and this man here, after having a sexually charged conversation with a 13-year-old girl, came to the Meyer to meet up with her.
Yeah, okay.
And we just had a conversation with him in the store, and I have all the chat logs here, and we just want to kind of give you guys the information, let you know what's going on here, to see if there's anything that can be done.
Do you have any weapons on you?
I have a pocket knife right there. That's all I got.
I'm gonna pay you.
Might be in my truck.
Okay, you said you have some chat logs.
I do have all the chat logs right here. That's his picture. See his name. That's the number he was texting from. I believe that's his primary number. The girl says she's 13.
How long has this been going on?
This conversation with him, I want to say coming up on 2 weeks now.
Okay.
Roughly a week and a half.
I see.
Yeah, sure.
So, like, what was planning on doing today?
Today, the plan generally was we made up the story that the girl was home alone. Her mom was gone for the night. He was planning to come over and potentially have sex with her.
And she lives somewhere in the area?
And she lives across the street, was the story. And they were going to go back over to her place, and they wanted to meet in public so it would be more comfortable for meeting for the first time.
Where did they meet at? Her here because her parents are out of town?
Mom was at work for the night.
And he was going to go back to her house?
Yes, that was the plan.
He's not listed as like a sex offender or anything.
Well, not yet.
Yeah.
He was saying he was just,
I figured he would be.
he kind of fits the build.
Do you know where he works?
I don't know where, some sort of warehouse construction type deal.
Very weird that he's about with the pregnant stuff.
We thought that was pretty weird as well. Yeah.
All right, I'll take him to our station and interview him, and I probably won't be able to charge him tonight,
Okay.
but I'll confer with our prosecutors. We have special victims unit prosecutors.
Sure.
Probably won't be until Monday that I can probably get him charged.
Okay.
Something will happen to him.
Oh, well, let's hope so. You know, we need less people like this in the street.
Yeah.
And I can email you everything tonight.
Okay.
Take care, Calvin. Good luck to you in prison. Well, that was
That's
surely something.
Now, the officer shows up on scene. I basically give him sort of the rundown on what's going on. And ultimately, Calvin is patted down. We find out that he was actually carrying a pocket knife on him, which this is the first time, to my knowledge, that a predator has shown up with any sort of weapon on them. Kind of makes you think a little bit, you know. Calvin gets put in handcuffs, put in the back of a police car, and is taken in for further questioning. I then sent all the information I had to their detective bureau, and it's going to be an ongoing investigation. Even if nothing ultimately happens to Calvin, I hope that he doesn't try another experiment like this again. Because we do these experiments catching predators all the time. It's an ongoing thing. All we could do now is keep an eye out for him and hope that Calvin got all of the research data that he was going for. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of To Skeet a Predator. I'm your host, Skeet Hansen, and that's going to be a cut, boys and girls. Let's go get drunk.